Good morning. In this video, I'm going to share with you all the things that you need to get started with canning in terms of equipment. I am a big believer in using what you have already and not buying a bunch of stuff that you don't need. So this is going to be a pretty short list. The first thing that you would need to decide is if you're going to use a traditional water bath, which is like a pot of some kind, where you put the jars in a hot tub of water, okay, submerge them in water, or if you're going to use a steam canner. You use the same recipes, it's the same science, it's the same idea, but just a slightly different way of achieving the same result. So a steam canner is lightweight aluminum and has a dome-shaped lid, and they're awesome, and they save about 25 minutes per batch because they come to a boil so much faster. They only have like that much water in the bottom, like about 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and a regular canning pot has like 8 or 9 or 10 inches depending on the size. So that's the very first decision you'd have to make. Am I going to use a pot that I already have, which is fine, or are you going to use a steam canner? If you're going to use a pot that you already have, if you're like completely brand new and you're like, what the heck is a steam canner? I don't know. The very first thing you might do is you might use a pasta pot or a pot that you might boil an artichoke in and get on Amazon or somewhere, a kitchen shop, I'm sure Walmart has them, these are so hard to hold, a silicone trivet. Mine's kind of dusty because I have very hard water, but a silicone trivet, and that you can just rest on the bottom of your pasta pot or your stock pot or whatever. It can be a cheap pot, it doesn't even have to be a nice pot, and that will prevent your jars from rattling around and breaking. Don't skip this. This is $10 well spent. I've broke a jar before by not having something on the bottom. That was kind of a dumb rookie move. Or not, wasn't dumb, but I just didn't know any better. So you need something on the bottom. Of course, you can use those giant black speckled canning pots that have the wire rack, and that wire rack kind of takes the place of this. It prevents the jars from rattling around on the bottom, which is great. I never use those giant black pots because they take so long to come to a boil, like 35 minutes or longer. So long. I never use them. Never. I mean, unless I was canning like gallons of cider or something. I mean, I just don't ever use them because they take so long. So if you're going to use a regular pot, use one of these in the bottom. And these fit, like, they're so soft and squishy, you can use any kind of pot. After that, you need a jar lifter. So if you decide to use a steam canner, the steam canner option is awesome because at the link in my Instagram profile, you can get a steam canner that comes with this and a funnel all in one box for cheaper than the cost of getting them on Amazon, and they have free shipping. The company Victoria is awesome, and then you get all three of these things that you need, that you have to have, all in one box. It's pretty awesome. So that's one way or one reason to consider doing steam canning, because then you can get all the stuff all at once. But this is a jar lifter. It goes around the top of the jar. It's like a pair of tongs, but for something round, right? Boop, round. You have to have it. There's no way to move hot jars out of boiling water onto a countertop without it. It's dangerous. You need to use this. If you're using a steam canner, you would use it when the jars are hot afterwards and you're taking them off the rack onto the counter to start your subsequent batch. After that, you need jars, canning jars. They can be reused over and over and over for many years, but they cannot have chips or cracks. That seems obvious. You have to use brand new lids. You can reuse the lids for storing like ground coffee or crayons or art supplies or like other stuff, but you have to use brand new lids. I just always look for them when they're on sale, and I just buy because I can a lot. I buy every single box there is. Usually they're like $3 for a dozen, $4 for a dozen. But that is the one thing you have to buy brand new. So other than jars, you have your lids, and then you have the silver ring that's sometimes called a band, and that screws on the top, and those can be reused. They cannot be rusted, and that's it. That's what you need. I like, side note, I like a clear funnel, as in a somewhat translucent funnel, instead of an opaque funnel, because when you're a new canner and you set it into the jar is clear, this is clear, you can see how full your jar is getting when you're ladling in your preserve. This is just like a side note here. I would almost opt, if you had a choice, I like a clearer funnel because you can see how full your jar is and you can stop to maintain the proper headspace. That means the distance from the top of the food to the top of the jar. So hopefully that is a helpful little tip. I mean, like, those metal nice funnels are beautiful and will last you a lifetime, but a plastic funnel is, or a translucent funnel is really handy because then you can see through it. It's really helpful. But those are the things that you need to get started canning. So again, like if you were brand new and didn't have anything, the things that you would have to buy would be lids. You would need a funnel, which you may have, but maybe not. Maybe not. You would need a funnel. And then you would need a jar lifter. And if you were considering doing steam canning, which I mean I would recommend if you were brand new and like excited about it, I would definitely do that because it saves so much time. If you get a steam canner, you can use the link in my Instagram profile and get the steam canner, the funnel, and the jar lifter all for cheaper than what you can get it on Amazon with free shipping. And it's a really nice company out of Utah. But if you do the water bath, that's totally fine and it works great. And it's like, I mean, I did it for years and I would still do it today. It's a great way to do it. Get one of these guys off Amazon or off of wherever. It can be different. They have different colors, slightly different shapes, but just as a silicone trivet. It's a great little tool. Any other questions about what equipment you need to get started canning? I'm happy to help. But you can check out, I have a blog post on the domestic wildflower about equipment for beginning canning, or you can always shoot me a message. Anyway, be sure to check out the blog post.